Hey look, I've got the key to the 2025 and a half Volvo XC90 T8 all-wheel drive Ultra plug-in hybrid. Wow, that was a mouthful. Anyway, I get to drive this recently refreshed, stylish 3-row SUV around for an entire week. So we'll see what it's like to live with as a daily driver. We'll check out all of the features, the interior, run some errands, and see how much we like it. Okay, the first thing to get out of the way is that this XC90 is not a new design. It's going to be quite apparent that this is the same overall shape that was introduced for the 2016 model year. So this is actually the second refresh of this XC90 platform. The XC90 has sold quite well for a while, so Volvo's philosophy has essentially been don't mess too much with a good thing. Small, continuous improvements over the years have made this a much more well-rounded car than it was way back in 2016. And this T8 is the plug-in hybrid variant, providing up to 34 miles of all-electric range, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. We have the top-of-the-line Ultra all-wheel drive trim, so it's the most expensive in the XC90 lineup. So yeah, these start at around 59 grand and can top out at almost $90,000 for the top trims with options like we have here. To me, after all of these years, the design has held up. This looks and feels like a very classy SUV, very elegant, not overstyled. Even this grille that's a bit unusual in that it's not symmetrical is very classy. I love it. The headlights are a bit thinner now and a bit squintier, but in a good way. The side profile is very clean, no crazy swoops or creases, just simple and upscale looking. And we've got the charge port right here on the driver's side. And the paint here is called Mulberry Red, which is new for 2025 and a half. The color is sort of a really dark magenta or Merlot, but kind of more brown than red. But if you're not into brown cars, you're probably not gonna like it because in most lighting situations, it just sort of looks brown. My wife didn't like it. My dad thought it looked pretty horrid, but I kind of dig it. At least it's different. And thankfully it's not a boring shade of gray, which seems to be all the rage right now. So overall, the interior design is really quite lovely, very high quality materials. These seats are super comfortable, ton of adjustability, and they're heated and cooled. We've also got the lounge package in here, which includes a nice massage feature. So the XC90 isn't the largest luxury 3-row out there, but there's a decent amount of space here in this front row. Legroom is good. My knees are not hitting up against anything. Pretty good headroom, even with this giant panoramic sunroof. I do really like how these speaker grills are just really nicely integrated into the door design. And this optional Bowers & Wilkins audio system sounds really good, and it should because it's quite an expensive option. There's a decent amount of storage in here. The steering wheel is a nice design with simple minimal buttons, though I do find it kind of odd that we have manual tilt and telescoping on a car that's this expensive. This is, almost $90,000. You'd kind of expect that to be power. It's not a deal breaker, of course, but it's just a bit surprising. Now in front of the steering wheel is the digital gauge cluster, and it's got very minimal graphics, which I actually appreciate. Just basic information. So you can toggle between showing the map or just showing kind of a blank area there in the middle. Though I do kind of wish the speed had an option to be in the middle. I kind of like that front and center. All right, so let's move on over to this infotainment right here in the center of the dash. Now to me, this looks like the literal definition of an iPad glued to the dashboard. And I know a lot of people love to complain about that. And yeah, this isn't super well integrated, but it's not really a big deal to me. Honestly, the placement of it is perfect, and I haven't noticed any issues with glare or anything like that. The thing that I don't like is that nearly every single function, including the climate system, has to be controlled with this screen. So, if you want to change the temperature, press a bunch of buttons. If you want to change the fan, press a bunch of buttons. It's just not my favorite. I'd much prefer to have physical controls for things like climate control. And I mentioned this in a lot of videos. That means I don't have to take my eyes off the road to use it, something that I can just do by feel. I'm kind of hoping that for the next generation, they dial this back a little bit and bring back a few physical controls. I will say the good news is the graphics are very minimal. The icons are easy to see when you're driving. I know some people have complained about this system being laggy, but I haven't really noticed that big of a problem with it. I just got out of a Subaru WRX, and this is nowhere near as slow as that one, so I'd say it's fine. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, it is only a wired connection. Visibility out the sides and front is good, not too hard to gauge where the front of this vehicle ends. Visibility out the back is okay, but not great if anybody's sitting in that third row. All right, so let's go check out the cargo area and the second and third rows. And for that section of the video, I'm gonna bring my daughter to help us out because for a lot of people, this will be a family vehicle. All right. All right, see you later. Bye. All right, yeah, one 8-year-old child can fit in the back of a Volvo XC90. Okay, you wanna fold these seats down? You know how to do it? Lift up right there, lift up right there, really hard. There we go. There we go. Now you have a whole room to party back here.
Yeah!
So one downside of this setup is that there's no button to lift these seats back up, so you have to crawl all the way back in here.
Or just get your kid to crawl here.
There you go, get your kid to do it. There we go.
Back to the second row.
Back to the second row. Let's check out the second row.
I definitely recommend this car.
You do? It is very comfortable back here. Look at these awesome armrests.
Yeah, and they can go up.
They move up
So
too.
if you don't want them and you're like, go away armrest, you can just literally push them back. And also, if it's very light out and your kid wants to sleep, you can do this.
Little window shade.
Cup holders too.
That's pretty cool. Hey, look, there's a place to charge your iPad. Pretty nice. There's your vents. We need to see if your booster seat fits in here, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, so how do you fit in here? How much space you got?
I got a lot of space and double armrests.
You're comfortable back here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 6'3". You're not 6'3". I am not comfortable back here. My head is touching the ceiling. My foot doesn't fit under the seat. But we do have some cup holders. That's nice.
There's vents.
Oh, but no place to charge our phones.
Oh my gosh, that is not ideal.
All right, this is a good spot for kids, I'd say. What do you think?
Yeah.
Good spot for kids. Kids. No adults.
Not kid.
I don't want to be back here. Where are we now? In the front row of the Volvo XC90 T8 plug-in hybrid. What do you like about the interior of this car?
It's very big.
Very big. Do you like any of the design, any of the materials?
I'd like it if it was a bit more colorful.
Yeah.
It's basically just tan and the usual car colors.
Pretty bland. What color would you want to see in here?
Pink!
All right, so there are a few variants of the XC90, the Core, the Plus, and the Ultra, which is what we have here. It's obviously the most expensive, but it also has the most amount of power. Other models have a mild hybrid, but here we have the T8 plug-in hybrid, so the battery pack is larger, 18.8 kilowatt hours. And like I mentioned, a decent amount of all EV range before that gas motor kicks in. Shifts are smooth, an 8-speed automatic transmission, works great. And we've got all-wheel drive, which will be useful in snow and inclement weather. So yeah, for the most part, power delivery is pretty smooth. There's lots of torque. EV mode is very quiet. And when you're actually utilizing the gas motor, the turbocharged 4-cylinder, there's quite a bit of power. It's pretty quick. It makes an impressive 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. It can get to 60 miles per hour in about 5 seconds, so absolutely no worries getting up to speed on the freeway, or if you need to pass somebody, it's a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. And the setup can tow up to 5,000 pounds, which could be useful for you. So yeah, when you're in EV mode, it's very quiet. And even when you're using the gas motor, it's pretty quiet unless you step on it. The only thing that I notice is that if you're in EV mode and you need some instant power from that turbocharged 4, depending on if the vehicle is in the right gear, it might take a second to get up to speed. But that time, actually, it was very quick. No problems there. So it just kind of depends on what gear it's in. Now, in terms of ride, it's pretty good. We have the optional $1,800 air ride suspension, which includes active dampers. It's really soaking up the bumps quite nicely. Although this isn't the nicest riding luxury SUV that I've ever been in. And I don't know if that's because of the older underpinnings or the body structure. You can feel some of those vibrations from those larger bumps like this one right here. I'm just driving over the manhole covers and you can hear how much it kind of like rattles. It kind of resonates through the whole cabin here. Like that. Again, not a big deal, just not quite as refined as some of the other luxury 3 rows. Okay, here's one annoying thing that I just noticed. Check this out. No, it does not move. This sun visor does not move to block this area right here. Come on, Volvo. This vehicle is $90,000. Give me something here. Like hang a t-shirt from the side of my $90,000 vehicle to block the sun. All right, I don't have many nits to pick with this car, but that's one of them. So we're getting close to the garden center. I'm gonna go over there and throw some plants in the back of this thing. Okay, I might need to buy this. Can't see out of the back anymore, but at least I got my plants. They all fit. Didn't bring any bees with me. Thanks, Green Thumb. Yeah, let's get some air in here. This is hot today. This is where I would prefer just have physical controls. Yeah, and here's this awesome rear view camera. 360 camera is very good. And then it switches to the 360 camera when you're going forward. All right, so I've been driving this around for about the last week or so, and I have to say that I feel like the EV range here is pretty usable. I've barely used any gas the entire week. So there is an included 110-volt charging cable here, and it takes about 5 hours to top up the battery. But that's easy enough to do at night or even between errands if you don't have to do a whole lot during the day. So yeah, if you have to do a ton of trips in one day or your commute is, longer than 15 or 20 miles, you're definitely going to be dipping into that gas tank. But in the US, most car trips are under 5 miles. So if you can get your vehicle back at home to charge it for a little bit before you head out again, you might very rarely use gas. I mean, I could see it very reasonable to get 500 plus miles per tank. So base models get a not so great 23 to 24 miles per gallon. But here, once the battery runs out of juice, we can get up to 27 miles per gallon, which is decent. But yeah, there are other vehicles in this class that can do slightly better. All right, so what does all of this cost us? The core trim starts at around 59 grand, and this Ultra with the lounge package and the optional air suspension and the optional Bowers & Wilkins audio system and destination charge, and we're at almost 89 grand. And the thing that's surprising to me is that somehow, even with this architecture being over 10 years old, it still feels like this vehicle can compete pretty well with the other luxury 3 rows available. But the competition is pretty good as well. The new Lexus TX is pretty great. The Acura MDX is a little bit cheaper, maybe a better value. Audi Q7, BMW X5 are other options as well. All right, so what do you think? If you had 90 grand lying around and you were in the market for a decently large luxury 3-row SUV, which one would you go for? Would this XC90 be on your list? And again, yeah, these aren't all $90,000. They start in the high 50s, so you can get a cheaper one. I know a $90,000 SUV isn't in my foreseeable future, but maybe it's in yours. Would this one fit the bill for you? Let me know in the comments below. All right, that's gonna be it for today. If you like this video and you wanna see more like it, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you can get notified of all my new videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, please buy a Hello Road t-shirt or hat at helloroad.tv/shop. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're well, and I'll see you soon.